She grew up believing churches were the safest places in the world. Her grandmother always told her, "If anything scares you, run to the church. Nothing evil can cross God's doorstep." But Elena Carter learned the truth on a cold Friday night. The kind of night where the world feels too quiet, like something is holding its breath. The night she stayed after hours inside St. Augustine's chapel. The night she heard the floorboards whisper her name. And nothing was safe again. Elena volunteered at the church every week. She cleaned the pews, dusted the hymn books, polished the candle holders. The building was old, its wood soaked with time, its halls filled with shadows that clung to corners like dark secrets. Father Gabriel Mercer, quiet, worn, always tired, rarely spoke unless necessary. His eyes always carried the kind of sorrow that only comes from seeing something you can't unsee. Elena never questioned it until that night. She had stayed after sunset to finish cleaning. The chapel was quiet, lit only by a few flickering bulbs overhead. The stained glass windows looked darker than usual, the colors swollen with night, like bruises across the walls. She bent down to pick up a child's drawing left under a pew, a simple picture of a cross and a smiley face. That's when she heard it, a whisper, soft, dry, close. "Elena." She froze. The chapel was empty. Her breath turned cold. She looked under the pews, expecting maybe a prankster child. Nothing. She stood slowly, heart pounding. "Elena, help me." The voice didn't come from the pews. It came from the floor. Her feet tingled with terror. She knelt down, pressing her ear to the wood, and the voice spoke again, this time clearly, as though someone was lying right beneath her. "I'm so cold. Take me out." Elena shoved herself backward so hard she knocked into a pew. The floorboards beneath her seemed to twitch, just slightly, just enough to convince her she wasn't imagining it. She dropped the drawing and bolted out of the church, not breathing until she reached the street. The next morning, her cleaning supplies were neatly placed by the altar. Father Gabriel waited with his hands folded, eyes darkened by something deeper than exhaustion. "You left in a hurry last night," he said softly. She swallowed hard. There was someone whispering from under the floor. His face tensed, not surprised, not confused, afraid. "Elena," he said carefully, "you must not stay here after sunset, ever." "Why?" He didn't answer. He simply crossed himself and walked away. But curiosity is a curse all on its own. The second night she returned, staying just long enough to test what she'd heard. The church felt different, colder, heavier, as if the shadows were listening. She was cleaning near the altar when it started. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Soft at first, like a mouse under the floor, then deeper, heavier, as if long nails were scraping upward. Escarque, escarque, escarque. "Elena." She backed away, trembling. "Don't leave me, please." The voice was not weak anymore. It was stronger, closer, hungrier. She ran again, but this time she heard something new. The scratching followed her. The next morning she confronted Father Gabriel, voice shaking from anger and terror. "What is underneath this church?" He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Wordlessly, he led her to a locked door she had never noticed, hidden near the altar. He unlocked it with a key that trembled in his hand. A staircase spiraled downward into darkness. "Before St. Augustine's was built," he whispered, "another structure was here. A ritual chamber. Something was bound beneath it." "What kind of ritual?" He looked at her with hollow eyes. "The kind priests don't perform." The basement smelled ancient. Stone walls were carved with symbols, Some scratched out, others boarded over, but some still glowed faintly, like dying embers refusing to go out. And in the center of the room lay a heavy wooden trapdoor, chained from all sides. Except, it didn't look like a trapdoor. It looked like a coffin. "What's in there?" she whispered. "We do not know its name," he said. "Only what those before us wrote. It knows every soul who enters this church. It speaks to them. It chooses who to torment." Elena's blood turned to ice. "And it chose me?" Father Gabriel didn't answer. The next night, the whispers began earlier, louder. They vibrated through the walls, crawling like cold silk around her ears. "Elena, let me out." The candles flickered violently, then extinguished, all at once. The church shook. The floorboards bulged upward. The chains downstairs rattled like metal teeth chattering. Elena grabbed her bag and sprinted toward the door, but Father Gabriel appeared, blocking her path. "It's awake," he said, voice trembling. "It hasn't been this active in decades." A deafening crack cut him off. One of the chains snapped open, then another and another. Clink, clink, clink. The coffin lid shuddered. The whisper turned into a voice, deep, layered, echoing like several throats speaking at once. "Thank you for letting me breathe." The lid burst open. Something climbed out, not standing, not walking, crawling, fast, wet, with limbs that bent the wrong way. They ran up the stairs, the creature scraping behind them. The sanctuary doors slammed shut by themselves, as if held closed by invisible hands. Shadows writhed across the ceiling like living veins. Cold wind roared through the sealed building. Elena's screams were swallowed by the darkness. Behind them, the scratching stopped. Silence. Then the voice, "Don't turn around, Elena." She froze. "I'm right here." She spun. Nothing. The voice chuckled, rattling the stained glass windows. "Not there. Look lower." She glanced down. Still nothing. The laughter grew louder, echoing from everywhere at once. Father Gabriel shoved her toward a window, whispering, "Go!" She climbed onto a pew, lifted a candle holder, and smashed the stained glass. The shards rained down, slicing her arms as she crawled through the opening. She hit the ground outside, stumbled to her feet, ran until her lungs burned. Behind her, the church doors creaked open slowly. A voice drifted out, soft, patient, promising. "Elena, you set me free. I know where you are now." She moved 3 towns away. She changed her number. She changed her life. But at night, when the air is still and her apartment is quiet and the shadows feel too heavy, she hears it again, under the floor. "Elena." And once, just once, the whisper said something new. "You can run from the church." A pause, a breath, a smile she could hear. "But you can't run from me."